again, friends. A funny thing happened when I started to research this fairy tale. I found out it was probably a lot older than I thought, possibly even as far back as 328 AD, when it was called The Boy Steals Ogre's Treasure. I'm assuming that's a translation. This story has gone through many, many changes over the years. The most important one is trying to decide if our main character is a hero or a villain. I will let you decide. So join me as we read a tale that was once called Jack Spriggan and the Magic Bean, but that we now know as Jack and the Beanstalk. There was once upon a time a poor widow who had an only son named Jack, and a cow named Milky White, and all they had to live on was the milk the cow gave every morning, which they carried to the market and sold. But one morning, Milky White gave no milk, and they didn't know what to do. "What shall we do? What shall we do?" said the widow, wringing her hands. "Cheer up, mother. I'll go get work somewhere," said Jack. "We've tried that before, and nobody would take you," said his mother. "We must sell Milky White, and with the money start a shop or something." I have questions. Why will nobody hire Jack? And how are they going to open a shop when they don't have anything? It's not like you can just open a bunny ranch and bunnies will fall from the sky. I stand corrected. Go on, little bunny. Go. Shoo. "All right, mother," says Jack. "It's market day today, and I'll soon sell Milky White, and then we'll see what we can do." So he took the cow's halter in his hand, and off he started. He hadn't gone far when he met a funny-looking old man who said to him, "Good morning, Jack." "Good morning to you," said Jack, and wondered how he knew his name. I was just wondering that myself." "Well, Jack, and where are you off to?" said the man. "I'm going to the market to sell our cow there." "Oh, you look the proper sort of chap to sell cows," said the man. "I wonder if you know how many beans make 5. "2 in each hand and 1 in your mouth," says Jack, "as sharp as a needle." "Right you are," said the man, "and here they are, the very beans themselves," he went on, pulling out of his pocket a number of strange-looking beads. "And you are so sharp," says he, "I don't mind doing a swap with you. Your cow for these beans." "Go along," says Jack. "Wouldn't you like it?" "Ah, you don't know what these beans are," said the man. "If you plant them overnight, by morning they will grow right up into the sky." "Really?" said Jack. "You don't say so." "Yes, that is so. And it doesn't turn out to be true. You can have your cow back." "Right," says Jack, and hands him over Milky White's halter and pockets the beans. After all, it does have a cow-back guarantee. Back goes Jack home, and as he hadn't gone very far, it wasn't dusk by the time he got to his door. "Back already, Jack," said his mother. "I see you haven't got Milky White. So you've sold her? How much did you get for her?" "You'll never guess, mother," says Jack. "No, you don't say so." "Good boy. 5 pounds? 10? 15? No, it can't be 20. "I told you couldn't guess. What do you say to these beans? They're magical. Plant them overnight and—" "What?" says Jack's mother. "Have you been such a fool, such a dolt, such an idiot, as to give away my Milky White, the best milker in the parish, and prime beef to boot, for a set of paltry beans? Take that! Take that! Take that!" I wonder what she's giving him. Maybe more beans? "And as for your precious beans, here they go out of the window, and now off with you to bed. Not a sup shall you drink, and not a bit shall you swallow this very night." So Jack went upstairs to his little room in the attic, and sad and sorry he was, to be sure, as much for his mother's sake as for his loss of supper. At last he dropped off to sleep. When he woke up, the room looked so funny. The sun was shining into part of it, and yet the rest was all quite dark and shady. So Jack jumped up and dressed himself and went to the window, And what do you think he saw? Why, the beans his mother had thrown out of the window into the garden had sprung into a big beanstalk, which went up and up and up till it reached the sky. So the man spoke the truth after all. Why is the story so surprised? Didn't it already know that? The beanstalk grew up quite close past Jack's window, so all he had to do was to open it and give a jump onto the beanstalk, which ran up just like a big ladder. So Jack climbed, and he 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 climbed. It's a lot of climbing. Till at last he reached the sky. What possessed him to think, hey, there's a beanstalk, I should climb it? It's a silly thing to do. And when he got there, he found a long, broad road going as straight as a dart. So he walked along, and he walked along, and he walked along, till he came to a great, big, tall house. And on the doorstep, there was a great, big, tall woman. All right, this story is pretty repetitive. I wonder if they say things so many times because they expect that no one is listening. Good morning, ma'am, says Jack, quite polite-like. Could you be so kind as to give me some breakfast? For he hadn't had anything to eat, the night before, and was as hungry as a hunter. It's breakfast you want, is it? Said the great big tall woman. It's breakfast you'll be if you don't move off from here. My man is an ogre, and there's nothing he likes better than boys broiled on toast. You'd better be moving on, or he'll be coming. I thought he was a giant, not an ogre. Oh, please, Mum, do give me something to eat, Mum. I've had nothing to eat since yesterday morning. Really and truly, Mum, says Jack. I may as well be broiled as die of hunger. Well, the ogre's wife was not half so bad after all, so she took Jack into the kitchen and gave him a hunk of bread and cheese and a jug of milk. But Jack hadn't half finished these when thump, 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 the whole house began to tremble with the noise of someone coming. Goodness gracious me, it's my old man, said the ogre's wife. What on earth shall I do? Come along quick and jump in here. And she bundled Jack into the oven just as the ogre came in. He was a big one, to be sure. At his belt he had 3 calves strung up by the heels, and as he unhooked them and threw them down on the table and said, Here, wife, broil me a couple of these for breakfast. Ah, what's this I smell? Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll have his bones to grind my bread. Bone bread sounds awful. Nonsense, dear, said the wife. You're dreaming. Or perhaps you smell the scraps of that little boy you liked so much for yesterday's dinner. Here, you go and have a wash and tidy up, and by the time you come back, your breakfast will be ready for you. What was that thing she just casually said? Did the ogre eat boy for dinner yesterday? Well, goodness me, perhaps he does deserve the ending of this tale. So off the ogre went, and Jack was just going to jump out of the oven and run away when the woman told him not to. Wait till he's asleep, says she. He always has a doze after breakfast. Well, the ogre had his breakfast, and after that he goes to a big chest and takes out a couple of bags of gold, and down he sits and counts till at last his head began to nod, and he began to snore till the whole house shook again. Then Jack crept out on tiptoe from his oven, and as he was passing the giant, he took one of the bags of gold under his arm. Thief! And off he pelters till he came to the beanstalk, and then he threw down the bag of gold, which of course fell into his mother's garden, with, I'm guessing, a really big thump, leaving a massive divot. And then he climbed down and climbed down till at last he got home and told his mother and showed her the gold and said, Well, mother, wasn't I right about the beans? They really are magical, you see. So they lived on the bag of gold for some time. But at last they came to the end of it, and Jack made up his mind to try his luck once more at the top of the beanstalk. So one fine morning he rose up early and got onto the beanstalk, and he climbed, and yes, we understand it's a long climb. Moving on. There, sure enough, was the great tall woman a-standing on the doorstep. "Good morning, Mum," says Jack, as bold as brass. "Could you be as good as to give me something to eat?" "Go away, my boy," said the big tall woman, "or else my man will eat you up for breakfast." "But aren't you the youngster who came here once before? Do you know that very day my man missed one of his bags of gold?" "That's strange, Mum," said Jack. "I dare say I could tell you something about that, but I'm so hungry I can't speak till I've had something to eat." "Ha! A liar and a thief. Nice kid." Well, the big tall woman was so curious that she took him in and gave him something to eat. But he had scarcely begun munching it as slowly as he could when thump, thump, they heard the giant's footsteps, and his wife hid Jack away in the oven. All happened as it did before. In came the ogre as he did before, said fee, fi, fo, fum, and had his breakfast of 3 boiled oxen. Then he said, "Wife, bring me the hen that lays the golden eggs." So she brought it, and the ogre said, "Lay," and it laid an egg, all of gold. Then the ogre began to nod his head and snore till the house shook. Then Jack crept out of the oven on tiptoe and caught hold of the golden hen, and was off before you could say Jack Robinson. But this time the hen gave a cackle, which woke the ogre. And just as Jack got out of the house, he heard him calling, "Wife, wife, what have you done with my golden hen?" And the wife said, "Why, my dear?" But that was all Jack heard, for he rushed off to the beanstalk and climbed down like a house on fire. I have never seen a house on fire climb something. That would be a sight to see. And when he got home, he showed his mother the wonderful hen and said, "Lay," to it, and it laid a golden egg every time he said, "Lay." Well, Jack was not content, and it wasn't long before he determined to have another try at his luck up there at the top of the beanstalk. I don't like Jack. So one fine morning he rose up early and got to the beanstalk, and he climbed, and yes, a lot, moving on. But this time he knew better than to go straight to the ogre's house, and when he got near it, he waited behind a bush till he saw the ogre's wife come out with a pail to get some water, and then he crept into the house and he got into the copper. He climbed into an English police officer. He hadn't been there long when he heard thump, thump, thump as before, and in came the ogre and his wife. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman," cried out the ogre. "I smell him, wife, I smell him." "Huh, smells like teen spirit." "Do you, my dearie?" says the ogre's wife. "Then if it's that little rogue that stole your gold and the hen that laid the golden eggs, he's sure to have gone into the oven." And they both rushed to the oven. But Jack wasn't there, luckily, and the ogre's wife said, "There you are again with your fee, fi, fo, fum. Why, of course it's the boy you caught last night that I've just broiled for your breakfast. How forgetful I am, and how careless you are not to know the difference between live and dead after all these years." Not really liking the ogres either. So the ogre sat down to the breakfast and ate it, but every now and then he would mutter, "Well, I could have sworn," and he'd get up and search the larder and the cupboards and everything, only, luckily, he didn't think of the copper. Well, who would? It's not often someone hides inside a police officer. After breakfast was over, the ogre called out, "Wife, wife, bring me my golden harp." So she brought it and put it on the table before him. Then he said, "Sing," and the golden harp sang most beautifully, and it went on singing till the ogre fell asleep and commenced to snore like thunder. Then Jack lifted up the copper lid very quietly. Oh, he hid under the officer's hat. That makes much more sense. and got down like a mouse and crept on hands and knees till he came to the table, when up he crawled, caught hold of the golden harp, and dashed with it towards the door. But the harp called out quite loud, "Master! Master!" Snitch. And the ogre woke up just in time to see Jack running off with his harp. Jack ran as fast as he could, and the ogre came rushing after him and would soon have caught him, only Jack had a start and dodged him a bit and knew where he was going. Dodge and weave! Serpentine! When he got to the beanstalk, the ogre was not more than 20 yards away, when suddenly he saw Jack disappear, and when he came to the end of the road, he saw Jack underneath, climbing down for dear life. Well, the ogre didn't like trusting himself to such a ladder, and he stood and waited, so Jack got another start. But just then the harp cried out, "Master! Master!" And the ogre swung himself down onto the beanstalk, which shook with his weight. Down climbed Jack, and after him climbed the ogre. But this time Jack had climbed down and climbed down and climbed down till he was very nearly home. He called out, "Mother, mother, bring me an axe, bring me an axe!" And his mother came rushing out with the axe in her hand. But when she came to the beanstalk, she stood stock still with fright, for there she saw the ogre with his legs just through the clouds. But Jack jumped down and got hold of the axe and gave a chop at the beanstalk, which cut it half in two. That's an impressive cut. When the ogre felt the beanstalk shake and quiver, so he stopped to see what was the matter. Then Jack gave another chop with the axe, and the beanstalk was cut in two. What, again? And began to topple over. Then the ogre fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Oh, wait, sorry. Wrong story. And the beanstalk came toppling after. Then Jack showed his mother his golden harp, and what with showing that and selling the golden eggs, Jack and his mother became very rich, and he married a great princess, and they lived happy ever after. Like the lying thieves they were, having killed a child-eating ogre. I don't think I like anyone in this story. Why do we all like this story so much? I mean, Jack and the ogres, they're both murderers, and Jack is a thief to boot, and yet we call him the hero. Fairy tales are very confusing moral-wise. I mean, what is the moral here? He who murders first lives happily ever after with all his ill-gotten booty? Well, we have come to the end of another fairy tale. I would very much like to thank you for sharing this time with me, and if you would be so kind, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps my tiny channel grow. We are up to 115 subscribers. It's very exciting. I still have 3 or 4 requests to do, but if you would like to add your favorite story to the list, please let me know in the comments. Except maybe Cozy, Mossy, Foxy, Mossy, the friend of the channel, as we are coming into the holiday season, and I would like to not be horrified until January. But don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be informed of when I put out my stories. If you would like to support me on Patreon, Instagram, or Facebook, there are links below. I would like to thank Pixabay.com and their contributors for so many wonderful sounds and images. And of course, a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. So this thing is supposed to take me to amazing locations?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Hey, really?
Yep.
Right.
It's not as complicated as you think.
It looks like a window blind. You already turned the camera on? Oh.
Yep.
Oh, they're gonna know it's a green screen. Hold on. Whew. Okay, red leather, yellow leather. I can do this. All right, 3, 2, 1. I would like to thank my dear Patreon supporters, Robinson, Ida, Darren, Teresa, Brick's Journey, Karen, William, Josh, Colleen, and Callum, and now also Celeste, my greatest fan, and Mom. See, Mom, I am doing something productive with my life. Celeste likes me. I cannot thank you enough for joining us. Thanks to your generous support, we can now go to amazing locations like where I am standing now. I thought this was supposed to take me to amazing locations. Why is it still just green? I think it's broken.
It's not broken. That's how it works, Artie.